Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Days and welcome to an excited Wrestling Days because we might have an answer to one of the mysteries from the Firefly Fun House. You might remember this. Bray Wyatt putting a sign up on the door, on the entrance to the Firefly Fun House. It says, "Abandon all hope, ye who exit here." Now, Bray has told us before that the Firefly Funhouse is a safe place for all of his Fireflies. And I think what he's saying is that once you leave the Funhouse, it's no longer safe. What's extra interesting is, according to Dantes Inferno, which is a very famous poem, above the entrance to hell, it says, "Abandon all hope, ye who enter here." So again, just kind of reinforcing the fact that if you leave the funhouse, then it's maybe not as safe as when you're actually in the funhouse. So a few people picked up on that reference. We spoke about that reference in one of the early theory videos, but then our good friend C Wrestling got in touch with us and said that some of the letters in the sign were highlighted. You could see that they'd been gone over with like a pen, been made to stand out. Now, there were 6 letters that had been gone over. Those letters were P, H, E, O, B, E. And the only 6-letter word that you can make using those letters is the word Phoebe. So that was as far as we got. We didn't know who Phoebe was. Is this a new character that's on the way? Is it some kind of reference to something? It's one of the unsolved mysteries. Well, I need to give a massive shout out to @DreadfulClout on Twitter, who actually dug a little deeper and thinks that they have found the answer to the Phoebe mystery. Not only that, they found even more. This is some really, really interesting stuff. There's a lot hidden in this sign. So let's start with Phoebe. They had a look at Dreadful Clout, had a look in the Bible to see if there was any mention of Phoebe. Makes sense because we know there are religious references in this sign. And Phoebe is in the Bible. Phoebe is a messenger. She sent a message from St. Paul all the way to the Romans. She is being described as a servant, a protector, a guardian, and all of these words could be used to describe the Fiend. And in fact, Bray Wyatt has used those words to describe the Fiend. Apparently the Fiend is here to protect us. Bray Wyatt has told us that in the past. So is it that the Fiend is Phoebe? And what I think is very interesting is Phoebe's main purpose was as a messenger. She delivered a message from St. Paul to the Romans. So if the Fiend is Phoebe, does the Fiend have a message? Also hidden within this, you can see the pink letters. There's 4 of them. They spell out lion. Obviously, the lion is the king of the jungle, represents strength, represents pride. And again, those are all words that could be used to describe the Fiend. Obviously, very strong. It is Bray Wyatt's darkness. It does consume Bray Wyatt. And definitely seems like the darkness, the Fiend, could be described as the king of the jungle. Maybe that's what the Fiend's gonna become when he finally debuts in the WWE. We move on though. The red letters that you can see in this sign spell out the word Ethereal. I believe that's how you pronounce it. I think you can pronounce it a few different ways. But that is a very interesting word because it basically means that it is something not of this world. It's something otherworldly, mysterious, light. And yeah, I really feel like, again, that sums up the Fiend. The Fiend isn't of this world. the Fiend is Bray Wyatt's darkness. It consumes him. It's not a different entity. It's not a different person. It still needs Bray Wyatt's body and being, but it consumes him. It's not of this world. And again, I just thought that was a really nice little reference that was hidden within the sign. Next up, we've got this dox, D-O-X, and apparently if you dox someone, you reveal information about them, or you reveal their identity without their consent. Is it that the Fiend is able to control Bray without his consent? Bray has told us that he's in control of the Fiend. It's been a few occasions, though, where we've seen that's not true. Like when Ramblin' Rabbit was going to reveal the truth. It seems like something took over Bray, and Bray wasn't in control at that point. So, yeah, it's hard to know really what that is in relation to. But I do think there's something in it. I do feel like the Fiend has more control than what Bray has told us so far. The final one that I wanted to talk about is the backwards letters. So there's 3 backwards letters, R-N-N. Now, if you search R-N-N, then it comes back with recurrent neural networks. And I've got to be honest, this is quite deep stuff. I've read a little bit about this. I didn't understand most of it. But basically, what it says is that there's 2 networks, 2 different systems within a brain or within AI that can do 2 different types of things whilst being in the same body, so within the same brain or within the same AI. It's quite complex. It talks about feeding information in to get one result out. Again, I feel like a lot of this is connected to the Fiend. Obviously, Bray and the Fiend are within the same body, but they are 2 kind of different entities. Obviously, the Fiend is everything to do with Bray. It's why we've seen Huskus the Pig Boy and Ramblin' Rabbit and Mercy the Buzzard and Abby the Witch, because that's all part of Bray's past. And it's all come together. All of his frustrations, all of his darkness, everything that's not worked for him in the past, it's all come together to now give us the Fiend. So RNN, very hard to understand. As I said, I've read on it quite a few times. Talks about infinite impulses and finite impulses and different types of networks. But if you want to kill a few hours, read up on it yourself. But again, I do feel like there's a very strong connection there. Let's bring it all back, though, away from all of that theory stuff. I do think there's some very interesting bits there, and potentially you could go even further with it, but there's something else that I want to discuss, and I want to give a shout out to Declan Mina on Twitter, because Declan got in touch with me to say, isn't it funny that Bray Wyatt has forgiven and apologised to the likes of Chris Jericho, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, John Cena, The Rock, even Randy Orton. Randy Orton, who burned down the compound, broke up the Wyatt family, caused all of this absolute carnage. Even he was forgiven. But there's one person who has not been forgiven. There's one person who just hasn't had any kind of message from Bray, and that person is The Undertaker. The Undertaker hasn't been forgiven by Bray so far. Of course, The Undertaker wasn't around in the build-up to their match for WrestleMania 31. Bray Wyatt had to do a lot of that build on his own. Then when he finally got to the match, he was buried. I mean, not literally, but everyone wanted Bray to win that match. Undertaker won that match instead. And it really didn't help Bray Wyatt out. There's a foundation there, an argument there that that could be Bray Wyatt's first feud. Things really started going wrong for Bray at that point. You could argue the year before with John Cena, But obviously John Cena's got like movie commitments at the moment. Undertaker will be at Extreme Rules, and there is a foundation there for him to be Bray Wyatt's first opponent. I personally would love Bray Wyatt versus The Undertaker at SummerSlam. We could build towards that. It'd be a really interesting build as well. This time Bray Wyatt goes over. So that's what I'm hoping to see at Extreme Rules. And even if it's not Extreme Rules, maybe they give it us the next night on Raw. I mean, there's big rumours we're getting Undertaker, Drew McIntyre, but I really feel like this is a much better story to tell. And that's it, guys. I'm sure you'll agree, some really interesting stuff in there. So thank you to @DreadfulClout, and thank you to Declan Mina on Twitter as well. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like. Hit the subscribe if you haven't already. And hopefully, I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.